Duncan is a very lively engine. He likes to do important jobs, and he always likes to be busy. One afternoon, Duncan arrived at the wharf. He had to collect freight cars of straw. He wished. Duncan was fed up. Tooted Thomas, grumbled Duncan. Just then, Rusty puffed in with freight cars of slate. He looked tired. He wished wearily. Asked Duncan. Shoved Rusty. Duncan tooted. Rusty whistled. Snorted Duncan. Duncan left his freight cars of straw and he puffed off to pick up the passengers. Duncan had collected Rusty's passengers, and soon he was chuffing cheerfully through the beautiful countryside. His wheels clickety-clacked along the tracks. Duncan was enjoying his new job. The sightseers were very happy to see all the wonderful sights. Duncan wished happily. On the way across the lake, the sightseers got out to take some photographs. Duncan had to wait for them. He wished he had something to do to pass the time. Just then, Skarloey puffed up. He was pulling freight cars of logs from the sawmill. He wished. Duncan asked his friend. Puffed Skarloey. Duncan tooted. Steamed Skarloey. Chuffed Duncan. This was an exciting job. And he puffed off to collect the sheep. The sightseers were very surprised to be left behind. At the farm, Duncan coupled up to the cars of sheep. He whistled excitedly. Then Duncan puffed off to market. Duncan clickety-clacked through the countryside with his sheep. He hooted. Up the track, Sir Handel was at the water tower. Puffed Duncan. Wished Sir Handel grandly. Puffed Duncan. Sir Handel chuffed. Duncan's boiler bubbled. He wished. And before Sir Handel could say anything, Duncan raced away to the transfer yards. Duncan arrived at the transfer yards. He was feeling very pleased with himself. He had had such an exciting day. Then he saw Mr. Percival. He was talking to Rusty and Skarloey. He was very cross. Said Mr. Percival sternly. Duncan gasped. He wished. And now his friends were in trouble. Puffed Duncan. Said Mr. Percival sharply. Duncan knew he was right. He wished sadly. At the wharf, Duncan coupled up to his freight cars. Thomas was surprised. He tooted. Wished Duncan. And he puffed quickly away. Duncan met Rusty at the lake. Who did Rusty? Chef Duncan. Skarloey was unloading his sheep at market. He whistled. Chef Duncan. When Duncan arrived at the farm, the farmer was pleased to see him. That made Duncan feel very happy. He had finished his job properly, and he had been a really useful engine.